are gonna talk about the top 10 new anime releases of 2020 so far. Let's get started. And starting the list off with the number 10, we have Smile Down the Runway. Smile Down the Runway is a shonen slice of life romance anime that has ran from January 10 to March 27, 2020. The series is animated by Isola and directed by Nobuyoshi Nagayami, with Toko Machida handling the series composition and Misaki Kaneko designing the characters. And let's talk about the characters for a while. The protagonists are the 17-year-old Ikoto of the series, and he's an aspiring fashion designer. Ikoto has the dream of being a fashion designer and self-taught himself since he was at least 7-year-old. But due to financially struggling family, he is forced to halt his dream. And then there is Chiyuki, the 17-year-old female protagonist of the series and model for her father's company. While praised to be blessed with good looks, the proper body proportions, and her father's connection with wealth. But Chiyuki's height becomes the barrier for her, being a runaway model, being only 158 centimeters tall. And in this anime, you will see the high hopes and determinations of the protagonist wavering yet strong. And I feel like this anime is just too romantic for kids. Stay out of it. That's just the basic of the synopsis. Just go check it out. Smile Down the Runway on Funimation and Crunchyroll. And going further up the list, we have Listeners. Listeners is a sci-fi music genre anime. Listeners is set in a post-apocalyptic world where humanity is defended from earless attacks and defended by the players. Ikorek, the protagonist, dreams of joining the players and piloting a mecha of his own. But guess what? He's another incapable protagonist without the ability to do the things he wants, until he meets his savior. Mu, a girl who has lost her memory and has an auxiliary port installed on her body. And together they set on their journey, and the rest is history. Just check out the anime. Listeners run from April 3rd, 2020 to June 19, 2020. And the series is animated by MAPPA and directed by Hiroaki Ando, with Dai Satao as scriptwriter, Shinpei Kamara as character designer, and I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'll just leave it on the screen if you can read it. Whatever, he is the music composer. And if you're interested, check Listeners out on Funimation and Crunchyroll. I will leave the links in the description. And if you like music stuff, then this show, believe me, is right up your alley. Next up, at number 8 on the list, we have Science Fell in Love, so I tried to prove it. And oh man, it's a hell of an anime. The sweet comedy mixed with the strange romance is a perfect combination for weirdos who are scientists or nerds. Basically, this anime is just way more weird than what you could ever imagine. The protagonists Shinya Yukimura and Ayame Himuro are young and genius researchers in STEM at Saitama University. And what do they try to do? They try to prove what it is scientifically and mathematically to fall in love. That's just strange. Well, Ayame suddenly confesses her feelings to Yukimura, and this is where it all begins. And by it, I mean the madness. The series ran from January 10, 2020 to March 13 of 2020, and the series was animated by the company Zero G and directed by Toru Kitahata, with Rintaro Ikara and Michiko Yokote writing the scripts, and Yusuke Isoichi designing the characters, and Hisakuna, Shoichiro Hirata, Kaoru Otsuka, Shuhei Takahashi, Takuma Sogi, and Yoki Takahashi composing the music. Whew, that's a lot of composers for an anime. And if you're a weirdo like me, check out Science Fell in Love, so I tried to prove it, on Crunchyroll and Funimation. Links will be there in the description. And now moving on to the 7th anime on our list, In Inspector. Inspector is a mysterious romance super thriller with a male protagonist called Kuro Sakuragawa. Kuro was having a hard time getting past his breakup with his girlfriend, and all of a sudden, guess what happened? He was approached by a girl called Kotoko Iwanaga. She then declared that she was in love with Kuro since she met him 2 years ago. And Kuro was like, what the freak? She then tells him that she is a sort of goddess of wisdom where she serves as the intermediary between the real world and supernatural world. Kuro, of course, doubts at first. Who wouldn't? Come on, who wouldn't? But after fighting a yokai in a library, it is revealed that Kuro is actually a monster that has eaten two different yokai mates, giving him the powers of immortality and near absolute precognition. Kuro agrees to help Kotoko on her various adventures as the peacekeeping goddess of wisdom. The series is produced by Brains Base and directed by Keiji Goto, with Nobuo Takagi writing the scripts and Takatoshi Honda designing the characters. It premiered from January 11, 2020 to March 28, 2020. If you are a thriller type of person, then you will enjoy this show. And going further up the list, at number 6 we have The Eighth Son. Are you kidding me? Well, this series is a fantasy harem isekai anime, and the main protagonist, Shingo Ichoniomi, was once a single Japanese salaryman until the day he fell asleep and woke up in a magical fantasy world. Gosh, I wish that happened to me. And turned out to be a young boy named Wendelin Bonbano, Boymester, that's the family name. The eighth son of the noble Boymester family. Although noble in name, it turns out that the family he was a part of now is extremely poor. I mean, like, totally poor. Go check out the anime and you will understand what I'm talking about. But luck has it that he has a great affinity for magic, and thus, thanks to Alfred, Wendelin becomes a skilled swordsman and a mage, leading him to become a famous adventurer known throughout the kingdom. Well, this anime is way cooler than what it looks like, believe me. The story is really great and the atmosphere is just soothing and fun. This series is co-animated with Shin-Ei Animation and Synergy SP, with Tatsu Miuro directing the series, Takashi Miyamoto handling series composition, and Keiji Tanabe designing the characters. Well, Minako Sato is composing the series' music, and the series English dub premiered on Crunchyroll on May 14, 2020. And if you are interested in fantasy genre of anime, you should definitely check this one out. And now, let's talk about the number 5 anime on our list, Tower of God. Action dark fantasy anime with, believe me, the graphics look horrible, like the 1990s. Seriously, I mean it. But aside from the very old looking art, the story is quite engaging and the second season is already announced. Let's talk about the anime for a bit. Tower of God centers around a boy called 25th Bam, who has spent most of his life trapped beneath a vast and mysterious tower, with only his close friend Rachel, who is a girl, to keep him entertained. When Rachel enters the tower, Bam manages to open the door, and then he is faced with the test he takes in order to see Rachel again, because Rachel is like in the tower and she's exploring, so he wanna meet him again, and there he goes. The series is directed by Takashi Sano, with Horikazu Hanai as assistant director. Erike Yoshida is in charge of series composition. Masashi Kudo and Mihi Tanimo are the series character designers, and Kevin Penkin is composing the music. Speaking personally, I'm just intrigued by the huge world, and by huge I mean it's tremendously huge, and I want to see more of it. That's it. Tower of God aired from April 2 to June 24, 2020. Be sure to check out Tower of God in Crunchyroll and Funimation, and also stay tuned for the second season. We will be discussing about that as well in our channel. Moving up to the 4th anime on our list, Asteroid in Love. I know you just jumped to the conclusion that this anime is a romance genre, but wait, don't skip the party yet, because it is officially not listed as a romance anime, rather it's listed as a slice of life. Surprise! Well, let's talk about it. The story revolves around a girl named Mira. During her childhood, Mira befriends a boy named Ao and makes a promise with him to discover an asteroid. That's a very big promise, I guess. And after a quick fast forward, she enters high school and Mira joins the Earth Science Club, a merger of the school's astronomy and geology clubs, and there she meets Ao again. Well, then she discovers he is actually a girl, so typically he becomes a she right now. Alongside their fellow club members, Mira and Ao take part in various astronomical and geological activities in the hopes of one day discovering an asteroid, and that's what we call promise. And as you can see, there obviously isn't any romantic elements that you might think there was. The series is animated by Doga Kobo and directed by Daisuke Hiramaki, with Yoka Yamada handling series composition and Jun Yamazaki designing the characters. Takuro Iga is composing the series' music. Asteroid in Love ran from January 3, 2020 to March 27, 2020. Check it out on Crunchyroll and Funimation. And now, guess what? We are on the top 3 anime in our list. The third anime on our list is Infinite Dendrogram. And hell yeah, another virtual world game. This is like in my favorite genre of anime. I love this type of animes. Anyone who is a fan of animes like Sword Art Online, like me, will definitely find this one their watch list for sure. The story is set on the year 2043. The virtual reality MMORPG Infinite Dendrogram is released, featuring the ability to perfectly simulate players' 5 senses as well. There is a twist, a VR game supporting 5 senses. That's just fantasy for now, alright? Nearly 2 years later, Reiji Mokidori, the protagonist, obviously, or else we wouldn't mention his name, enters the world of Infinite Dendrogram and assumes the name Ray Starling. And after he arrives in the game, he meets his more experienced brother Shu and his embryo companion Nemesis. As Ray explores the world of the Infinite Dendrogram, he learns to make a life for himself there and meets different kinds of friends and foes. Obviously, it's a game, right? The first season of the anime is completed and the second season is coming up soon, so stay tuned for that. The first season aired from January 9 to April 16 of 2020. Tomoki Kobayashi directs the series, with Nas producing the animation, Yuichiro Momose handling series composition, Masahiko Nakata designing the characters, Kenji Hiramatsu composing the series music. Stay tuned for more info on the second season and check out the 13 episodes of the first season on Crunchyroll or Funimation. Next up, the second ranking anime on our list is... Isn't it just obvious? Of course, it's Plunderer. Plunderer is an action fantasy anime with a little dose of romance as well. Plunder aired from January 8 to June 24, 2020, set in a post-apocalyptic world dominated by numbers. In this world, every human being has their worth measured by spatial count, and this is just way intriguing than any other settings of anime I'm used to, at least. Imprinted somewhere on their body, so the numbers are practically imprinted on their body, right? Which defines any number related to an important aspect of their life, like it could be anything. However, if this count decreases to 0, the person will be dragged down to the abyss and is said to be dead for all eternity. So this is what they believe. I mean, in this world, this is what they believe, at least. Plunderer features a lot of characters and has a very charming yet dark atmosphere. Hina is the main protagonist. Ever since Hina's mother was dragged into the abyss, she has been searching for the legendary ace from her mother's last wish for the last 5 years. Like that's just crazy. So the count on her leg is the steps that she walked, and there will be more deep dives about that in our other channels, so consider subscribing so that you don't miss any contents. And Hina's journey takes a sudden turn when she meets a strange masked knight known as Lichtbach. So he's this like the second main protagonist, or the protagonist at this, that's what I know, with a negative number count, which is totally weird, right? I mean, how are you still alive in a world where if the number turns 0, you die, right? Well, not exactly. But to find that, you have to watch the anime. That's it. Plunder aired from January 8 to June 24 of 2020. The series was directed by Hiroyuki Kanbei and written by Masashi Suzuki, with animation by Geek Toys. Yuka Takashina, Yuki Fukuchi and Hiroko Fukuda provided their character designs, and Junichi Matsumoto composed the series music. I highly recommend to check Plunder out. Trust me, you will love it. And before we move on, please subscribe, like and share this video, and comment below if you want more videos like this, and let's move on. And finally, we are on the number 1 anime on our list, which is none other than Darwin's Game. The series is directed by Yoshinobu Tokumoto and written by Shu Miyama, with the writer of the Flip Flops duo and also original creator of the manga series, with animation by Studio Nexus and character designs by Kazui Nakanishi. Kenichiro Sohiro is composing the series' music. Man, I freaking loved this one. I just highly recommend it. Just because it's another game related anime? No. It's because this one is just way too unique. Rather than diving into a game and facing chaos, this time, how about you change it a little bit? Turn the world into a game. Well, that's how you change this genre, right? That's what Darwin's Game is. Darwin's Game is a shonen genre anime where a 17-year-old boy called Kaname Sudo accepts an online invitation by a friend to play an app game called Darwin's Game. Who hesitated to download a game sent by their friends? That's just crazy. So, not giving it a second thought, he just tapped on the link and boom, a snake bites on his neck, and guess what happened next? He just joined a game that involved a fight between life and death, and still, I wouldn't believe it. I would also have thought the same thing. Still Kaname thought that it was a hallucination. That's normal, right? But soon, he realizes what is to come after the first PvP battle he experiences right after he logged into the game. Those who play the game are given a sigil, a unique ability that varies from player to player. If you are in Darwin's Game, trapped in this game of relentless murder and conquest, Kaname determines to clear the game and seek out the game master and finish him off for good. But what will happen? Well, we will soon see, as the second season is just around the corner. Stay tuned for that. The first season premiered from January 3 to March 2020. I just freaking command you to watch this. And that's it for today, and there will be more content like this, so click on the bell icon to receive notifications when we release new videos,